Good morning, Vande Matram. Welcome all of you. Here we are going to discuss on blaming oneself. That is the topic of discussion, blaming oneself. It is a great topic really. Most of the time we play the blame game. We blame somebody else, somebody blames us, and simultaneously we blame ourselves. We blame on our environment. Sometimes we blame our destiny. Many ways. We sometimes even crossing beyond the borderline. We go for blaming even the God, because if something is everything is running smoothly, then nothing, no problem, and then not necessary to blame somebody. If something wrong, if something coming as per the contradictory sequence for us, then we nearly try to blame. Most of the time we feel shifting the blame to others, shifting the blame. Suppose I know I am responsible for this hazard, for this haphazard movement or for the failure. That time what really I do, I try to blame, I shift the blame to others' head. That is what have been the play of present right now. What we see, what we feel, it is a very different thing, and most of the thing we know. By doing so, simply we are wasting our time. We are spoiling our spiritual spiritual destiny, and of course we are actually not moving in the proper direction. That's what we have to take in our mind. We must understand. So, we must know, so far the spiritual life is concerned, so far our way of living is concerned, we must know blame. It is not at all helpful in the process of sadhana. Now we'll take up the topic from mother. One question was put to the mother on that aspect. We'll have a brief discussion on that. The question was like this: is blaming oneself a good method of progressing? Normally we see, suppose progress is the law of life, and soul has come, the purpose is to take experience, progress, and develop. So progress is the law of nature, law of life. There is no doubt of it. We can't doubt upon it. So question is that blaming oneself. Most of the time already we have quoted a couple of times here. Is this method, like a blaming, is a good method of progressing? So I can give you one example, bright example there. One young man got a job, and he was happy. He went to meet his father before joining. So his father told, "You come today, before you leaving, I have got something to give. You just go, before leaving home, before joining, you just take meet me and go." Very next morning he went and met him. His father presented him two envelopes, number one and number two. He told, do one thing. If you are in a very precarious situation, if you are finding any trouble, you do one thing, you open your first envelope. So, and it will bring you some bright solution. Suppose the second time that problem is coming, you go and open this second envelope, and something is written inside as per the instruction, as I have instructed. You may act as per my instruction. Then this gentleman went, and he joined the job. That was a great thing. He joined the job, and after some time actually that problem came. So it was a dangerous problem. Young man, first time in the facing this problem beyond home. So he remembered that my father was having two envelopes, and he told, if I am in distress, any problem, then I have to open the envelope. He opened it. Then that was written in a single line. You try to shift the blame on others. You try to blame on others, try to shift it to somebody else. So your chapter will be closed. Then he did the same thing. That he kept the blame on somebody's shoulder, and he escaped happy, and he relaxed. And after some time, a second time also same thing, same problem came. Then he was actually got the formula. Second envelope he opened, there was something is written very contradictory. If for the second time you are facing the problem, You, instead of blaming others, you resign your job and come back. Did the same thing, resigned the job and came back. And he was actually in a worry, in a distress. Anyway, there was a face-to-face meeting between the father and the son. The son is asking, why you asked me to shift the, instead of shifting the job, that was a very fast suggestion. You told me, instead of in the second suggestion, instead of blaming, shifting the blame, you resign and come back. What is the reason behind your suggestion? This father is advising. From the past this thing error, you did not, you shifted the blame, that is great, but you could not learn anything from that teaching. So second time same thing has been repeated. Instead of, when you could not learn from one error, then nothing to learn from the second error. So it was better you just did the best thing, you have resigned and come back. So same thing, how to handle your problem and how to blame somebody else, somebody or surrounding, even to destiny, to God, to oneself. Anyway, the question was put to the mother, is blaming oneself is good method for progressing? Because it is, I am not going to put blames on others, on myself. Is it helpful in progress? Mother quotes, no, not necessarily. It may be useful. It is indeed useful from time to time in order to get out of the illusions of one's own perfection. Perfection, illusion of the own perfection. From there, you want to get out of it. Sometimes it is useful, sometimes it is helpful, but actually not always. So, like this gentleman could not get the solution, faced the problem. So he was trying to come out of it. That was anyway useful. But mother has quoted, to get out of the illusion of one's own perfection, but one wastes much energy in self-criticism. That is good. Sometimes you may come out of this illusion. Mother quotes it, illusion of one's perfection. But like again and again, if you are continuing this one, this already illusion of one's perfection has been quoted. That the second one is that one wastes much energy on in self-criticism. It is much better to use this same energy in making progress. Instead of wasting your time, energy, in the same thing, continuing then blaming oneself again and again, you do one thing. This energy must be used for some this energy, same energy, for making progress, as a concrete progress, something more useful. Instead of simply there you are wasting your time unnecessarily repeating the same error again and again. Instead of doing all these things, you do one thing. You just try to get the valuable progress, and of course this energy for making concrete progress, something very useful. Example, mother gives one example. If you have thoughts which are unpleasant, some thoughts are there which are not pleasant to you, unpleasant, because we keep thinking. It may be a pleasant one, it may be an unpleasant one, we keep thinking. So some thoughts are there which are unpleasant, ugly, vulgar, disturbing, and you say, some thoughts like mother quotes in different words, unpleasant, ugly, vulgar, disturbing, and you say, how intolerable I am. I still have such thoughts. What a nuisance it is, really thing. Because most of the times people don't know what they really are doing. That is the major one I will try to quote. This is a major one. And but you are lucky enough in sadhana, you have proceeded couple of steps, so at least you can know this is unpleasant, ugly, and vulgar, this is disturbing. Already you have recognized them, you know them, these are the problems, these are the words that are actually not anyway helpful to you nor to the society. Then what happens? You say, Megan, how intolerable I am. I still have such thoughts. What nuisance it is. It is not expected from me, because I have, it is really it is a disturbing, terrible thing. It would be much better to use this very energy simply to do this, and drive away the thoughts. Naturally, these are the thoughts most of the time, all the time it is coming to us. At least some sadhakas and the people who are in the progressing consciousness, they are in a position to know they are unpleasant, ugly, vulgar, and disturbing. Anyway, so they try to know, and they try to spend some energy to drive away those thoughts. That is a great thing. At least they try to drive away that thoughts. That is a great just attempt from you. And the mother quotes, and this is only the first step. You have recognized, you want to get rid of. That is the first step, not at all. And the second is one is to try to have other thoughts. The second, first step, at least you have recognized them. Second, the second is to try to have other thoughts, to take interest in something else. These thoughts should not be there. Empty mind is devil's workshop, something you don't get. You are inactive. You know, Mother has, Sri Aurobindo has quoted one line, you know, empty atmosphere. Inactivity creates an atmosphere which actually enhances your power of sex. So sex thinking and all, if you are inactive. So initially you recognize, and recognize you have to get rid of them, which are really already quoted, ugly, vulgar, disturbing, unpleasant. And you try to have their thoughts. And second thing, to take interest in something else, not these things whatever actually you are facing, you are coming on your way. That's what you take interest in, something else, not all these things what are coming. And either read or reflect. And at least inactivity must be must disappear, it must not be there. So something you try to read or reflect, but in any case try to fill your mind with something more interesting. If you are not doing anything, empty mind is devil's workshop. It can work and come, and it can disturb you in many ways. It will disturb you. Suppose you are instead of doing, at least you have recognized, you know these are not good, these are not helpful, you want to try to get rid of, these are the good signs and the good things. But second thing is that simultaneously the second, these are the first step. Second step is that you know, you have to think something else. You have to read, you have to reflect, you have to fill your mind with something that is really gorgeous and really more interesting. You know, fill your mind with something more interesting, to use your energy in you know, constructing rather than destroying. Very useful command, explanation by the mother. Something to do, something that is interesting, you know, that is constructing rather than destroying. Constructive things you must think of. You must fill the empty place. These things, these are vulgar, unpleasant things are coming on the way. You have to get rid of them, so that vacancy, that big blank will be there, that gulf will be there. Those will be filled by something which is actually constructing, not destructing. These are the things you must take care, and you must fill them with your thoughts. Again, mother tries to explain. It is of course necessary from time to time, not in a single way process. We think, okay, it is coming right now. I am very much familiar. I know the things. It is of course necessary from time to time to recognize one's faults. From time to time, it is not a single process or a one-time process. You must, it is necessary from time to time to recognize one's faults. It is altogether indispensable. Indispensable. There is no other go. If you will be finding at one time, it is a one time procedure, it is a wrong concept. Something is coming, simply you are recognizing, you are doing the first step and second step, and you feel it is complete. No. It is a ongoing process. It is an ongoing process. From time to time to recognize one's faults, and altogether indispensable, but to dwell too much upon them is not necessary. Unnecessary, don't waste your time. Don't stay for a long time in this process or in this activity. That is not at all required. What is not necessary. What is necessary? Then if it is not necessary to dwell on the same fault again and again, you keep roaming over that, you can come mourning over that and that. If it is not necessary, then what is necessary? What is necessary is to use all one's energy in order to build up a qualities one wants to have. Build up the qualities. Build up, make up your mind. You be determined, all these things to have and to do what one wants to do. Qualities one wants to have and to do what one wants to have. This is much more important. thing is that don't dwell upon the much more on the past what people have already done. That is not at all useful, that is not at all helpful. You try to do something that is really important, more important, much more important. That's what you have to carry out and you have to create. This is the concrete step you have to take, and you have to create your ability. And these steps simultaneously you have to take. Instead of blaming, you must do oneself, you must try to do something that is better. And this recognize from time to time, that the carry out from time to time, you must move from time to time. It is very much important, very much essential, there is no doubt of it. And this is what is helpful really in the process of the sadhana. Vande Mataram.